What's good, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Get Defensive Sports Network's Power 2 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jordan. I'm here with my co-host, DJ.
Hey.
How are you living today?
I am alive. There are 5 WNBA games today, so I will be living my best life as soon as I get off of here with you.
As you should. As you always do. Because there seems to be 5 WNBA games every Sunday.
Yep. We should just call it WNBA Sundays at this point. We should just, what really should happen, and I feel like this would be a great marketing tactic, they should pay me, is during football season, it's NFL Sundays. During WNBA season, it's WNBA Sundays. And you just give me WNBA games all day. I feel like we could tailgate, it's in the middle of the summer. Makes sense to me.
I see the vision. I do think they would need to stop playing all the games at the same time.
There's
first.
also that. Well, that, and I was saying that with the assumption that the games would be at different times, which I know is very hard for the WNBA to grasp.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Like a 12 o'clock. Well, actually, today the schedule actually makes sense because the games are, I think, 2 hours apart, which is, love that for us. I think the games are actually 2 hours-ish apart today. Yeah, it's 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3, 5, 6. So, we're getting there.
Yeah, we love that. We absolutely do love that. And hopefully, they continue that because it would be nice to watch the games, right? And not need 7 screens.
March Madness.
A lot of times I have 2 screens just in general because I'm that type of person, and I still couldn't watch all of the games at once with my 2 screens because they're all at once. You can't play 5 games at once. It's more of the story.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a WNBA Sunday, so it's always a good day. Now, the Fever and the Sky play today, which is Caitlin Clark versus St. Louis. Yay, they are torturing us with this 5 separate times this season. This is the 3rd time, I believe. Half of the Chicago Sky roster is injured. I'm pretty sure the game needs to be canceled at this point. Caitlin's not playing, Angel's not playing, but most of Chicago is not playing. I don't even know who's playing today. I don't know how many hardship contract people are going to be out there today, but that'll be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot about it as we do every time they play because it always seems like there's something that happens.
There's always a flagrant foul or something. I mean, at least we know guaranteed for today, it won't be something between Angel and Caitlin because they will be in sweats. So there's that.
Sure. Well, there may be a fine levied in that game. And speaking of fines, why are you making that face? If they get into a fight, they're going to get fined.
Oh, I was like, well, I thought you meant like it was already like coming up. I was like, who's about to get fined? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
See, you're ruining my transition.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Speaking of fines, as I try to transition, the NBA is fining 100+ players for selling Super Bowl tickets above face value.
The NFL is fining.
What did I say? Oh, somebody's finding somebody. That's all.
People are getting fined. That is the point.
So one entity is finding some form of player somewhere. Is all we can say for sure. Why did you send a Reddit link?
because Google is stupid. That is what happened with that. So that is the wrong link. I just saw it too. I was like, why is it Reddit? What the hell? See, this is why. Okay, no. Okay, so I sent you the real link. My bad. So basically what happened was, I don't know why it pulled, because when you attach a link to something in a Google Doc, Google will search what you're trying to attach a link to on its own. And I didn't realize that. Just now, I just discovered this right now. Because
my Google ain't never. Hey, Google, I know you be listening. You got AI.
Google's getting smarter.
Do that to
I
me.
do not know.
Don't do that.
The AI version of Google, I'm not sure. But whatever. So anyways, the NFL is fining more than 100 players and approximately 24 team employees for selling their Super Bowl tickets for above face value. The NFL spokesperson said that the players would be fined 1.5 times the amount of the face value of the tickets that they sold. The team employees would be fined double the amount of the tickets face value. I think that's insane because the players make more than the team employees do. But anyway, And the memo was sent to the top team executives, presidents, and lawyers, and they basically called it a widespread violation of the league's policy. And so at this point, the league policy prohibits league or team employees, including players, from selling game tickets for above face value or more than the prices originally paid. And the rule is part of the CBA with the NFLPA. And so the players are allowed to purchase 2 tickets to the Super Bowl at face value. That is okay, but when they resell, that's when it becomes a problem. And I think now the people who are affected will just not be able to get tickets. They would have to buy them through like the regular channels, basically. So,
yeah, I think that's interesting because like my thought with that is this a new rule? Or are they just cracking down on it? Because when I see 100 people doing it, it seems like either no one knew or they've always been doing this and nobody cared. Like 100 people just don't break the same rule.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like just like, especially for like the first time. Like the Super Bowl has been going on forever, and in like 2024, technically 2025, because it's in February, 100 players are like, you know what I should do? I should just break this rule randomly.
And like, all of us should all do it.
yeah, I think that's interesting. But, I mean, it's just a little fine. Don't nobody care about that. They got
it is.
money.
And mind you, what I will say is a Super Bowl ticket, I think the average price of a Super Bowl ticket is like $3,000 or something like that. So, yes, it's a little fine. But, like, I think it's just so interesting how the leagues are, like, trying to keep the players out of the commerce that occurs like around the sport, if that makes sense. So that's interesting because to your point, I think that players have probably been doing this, but it looks like they conducted a larger scale investigation this time around, and that's how they came to fining over 100 players and team employees because they actually like looked into it. So
yeah,
mess, child.
Just and I do think the biggest issue, like the thing to focus on, is that they were selling it to resellers, like like what people were doing with shoes and things like that, and that negatively hurts fans. Like I think it's like I don't even think it's so much like, oh, the players did something bad as much as it's like, and I hate to do this because like I very rarely disagree with the NFL or any of the big sports, but like players selling tickets that they get for cheap or free and then giving them to someone who's going to double the price for a fan who's probably going to pay their life savings to go to that game is crazy.
It's
like
predatory.
that does directly hurt fans. So like in this one instance, it's like, man, maybe the league was right in this one instance. And Lord, I do not expect to say that often.
The NFL is not good at giving out punishments. Actually, the NFL does not give out punishments. So therefore, love that for them. They will crack down on ticket sales. They won't crack down on domestic abuse, but they will crack down on ticket sales. So speaking of domestic abusers, Donald Trump signed an executive order recently. Talk about a segue. Signed an executive order recently because he believes that he is the Lord and Savior of college sports. And for some reason, he doesn't seem to understand that the presidency is not just a series of writing a bunch of executive orders. So since he doesn't understand that, he has written an executive order titled Saving College Sports. On Thursday, it was issued, and he basically is wanting to implement a lot more regulation around NCAA, NIL, all of the things that are affecting college sports at this present time. So it is calling for a few different things. Basically, it's calling for the prohibition of third parties from engaging in direct pay-for-play payments to athletes. That's deemed improper. So kind of like the concept of wanting to tamper down on the collectives and the boosters that are signing deals to pay the players directly. It says that players should only earn fair market value for a legitimate service to a third party, such as a brand endorsement, and that would potentially impose a cap on their earnings. Protections for scholarships on non-revenue earning sports, which is something we discussed when we talked about the House settlement and how that could negatively affect not only women's sports, but just like certain Olympic sports that just don't bring in the same amount of revenue, and they could potentially be axed in favor of sports that do generate a lot of revenue. So this is kind of saying like there needs to be protection on those scholarships. A clarification with the National Labor Relations Board on what the actual employee status of the athletes will be. This is encouraging that they would not be considered employees. But so they want it to be codified so that way because once you have the players qualify as employees, then that means that they could be starting to collectively bargain with the schools and all of that. Is going to get too far into the whole professional element of things. And then, of course, some extra protection for the NCAA, which the NCAA has been begging for a long time because they keep getting sued. So that has been written. It has been submitted. He thinks he's a king, so I think he thinks it is already implemented, but that is not how that works. Nothing is happening currently, but it is coinciding with an act that is already being pushed through Congress called the SCORE Act. That should be debated here in September when they come back from trying too hard to protect Trump for being a pedophile. So we will see what happens with that. That was a lot, but that is what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's just one of those things where it's like, it is news, so it is something to talk about and to sort of highlight. But at the same time, as with most things in the federal government and college football and NCAA as a whole, there's probably not going to be anything that comes out of it. I do think eventually, before Trump is out of office, there will be some sort of legislation that comes down, because probably. They are essentially begging for it, and it needs to, well, and in the hopes that he does eventually become out of office, if Democrats win anything, this is not going to happen, because Dems don't care about this.
This is
not entirely sure what they care about,
but non-issue.
This is because ultimately it's really just not a major thing for the federal government. Republicans care about this for whatever reason, Democrats don't, and so they're really trying. Like, there was a lot of hope for whatever reason when Trump and Republicans won, because college football thought that they would be able to pull this off. The SCORE Act is non-bipartisan, and so, like, again, because Republicans care about it and others don't, so if it does happen, it's largely just going to be on a Republican ticket, and we'll see. But also, the only way anything is going to happen is if Trump and or the Republican Congress push it through, because the Democrats are not going to do it.
Don't care. Because, there's certain other issues, like, I don't know, increased levels of, mentally ill people in the street, and the grocery prices and war. There's just other things to be worried about. But whatevs, we'll see. I know that the bigger, headline has been that, it's like, oh, he wants to cap their earnings. He wants to cap their earnings. He wants to cap their earnings. It's kind of like the headline that they're running with it, on it. And honestly, hot take, I'm not, opposed to that. I'm not opposed to saying, there's a ceiling for what you can earn as a college athlete, because I just feel like there's levels to everything, and I've never been a fan of the idea that you as a college athlete could potentially make just as much as somebody who does this professionally. So I'm not too opposed to that idea, but also I don't think that federal regulation is needed for that. But
well, it is definitely.
I know that's the only way that it'll happen. I'll put it like that. But I'm saying, the government could be worried about something else.
No, yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely 100%. What is it called? It's, in my opinion, it's necessary, right? I just don't because I don't think the NCAA and individual colleges are going to agree to any sort of cap. So for it to happen, it would need to come from the government. But in the same instance, it's not necessary in that. Why do we need that?
That's what I'm saying.
So it's just kind of whatever.
Yeah. It is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. We'll see what happens. Probably nothing. But it did happen on Thursday, so.
Yeah, probably nothing. Speaking of our last piece of news, Michigan and Western Michigan are set to play in Germany in 2026. The NFL has for years been playing games overseas, and they've been expanding where they're playing games overseas. They were just recently in Mexico City for the first time. They already play in Germany. They do a whole lot. And in like the UK, and they're trying to like add certain places. Currently, from my understanding, the college football only plays in Ireland, and there will be another game in Ireland this year. But Michigan and Western Michigan are set to play the first ever college football game in Germany in 2026. If you also are from Michigan or sort of care about this, this is one of those like older rivalries before like the schools like really separated in who was who, because it's in the state. So it's also sort of like bringing back a miniature rivalry. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm always for spreading the game. Yes. I mean, I'm also for, most importantly, in my opinion, as I say all the time when we talk about like bowl games and things like that, I'm for players being able to travel and using football as a means to travel, and there are going to be X number of players on both of those teams who don't have a passport and who have never left the country, and by going to college their school is then going to pay for their passport and take them overseas, and I think that's cool. Like, those are the kind of things that I think sometimes we forget, because there's so much going on in the sport that we forget the sort of cool little stories that affect players on a personal level and not just who's going to win a national championship.
For sure. And speaking of football going to Germany, for the first time, the first NFL game for Germany is the Berlin game for the Falcons versus your Indianapolis Colts, and that will be happening on November 9th this year. So,
oh, it's the first?
Yes, it's the first NFL regular season game in Berlin, Germany will be happening this fall.
I did know they were going to Germany. I didn't realize it was the first. So Germany, back-to-back years, and it does make sense, I guess, that NFL gets there, they make some inroads, and then this, that, and the third, boom. Now college football's in Germany. I wonder if it's going to be like the Ireland thing, which as of recently has been a yearly thing. I know someone has played in Ireland for at least the last 3 years. I can't remember if it's been longer than that, but it's like becoming a tradition of sorts. And so I do wonder if Germany's going to become that as well. I'm not entirely sure, of course, but I think that's interesting.
It's really cool. I'm a big fan of globalizing any sport. Oh, apparently the first game that was played in Ireland, college football game, was November 19th, 1988, when Boston College played Army.
Interesting.
So,
well, I definitely don't think that.
But it obviously hasn't been yearly since then. But
right, I definitely don't think that. What is it? What am I trying to say? I definitely don't think it's like they played games consistently since.
No, it has not.
Yeah.
No.
So I think the last 3 or so years, it's when it's been like in week 0, there has been a consistent game, and that seems to be something that is going to continue.
Yes, that it is slated for at least through 2027. We have Georgia Tech, Florida State last year. This year, Iowa State versus Kansas State. And then in 2027, it'll be Pittsburgh and Wisconsin. So, shout out to globalizing the game.
Hold on, say that again? Pittsburgh and Wisconsin. What year is that?
2027.
That's going to be a game.
That's going to be a good time.
That's going to be fun.
They will play it's called the Aer Lingus College Football Classic.
Gotcha.
And it will be their 2027 season opener.
Who is 2026, did you say?
It didn't say. So hold on, let me see. Okay. TCU and oh my gosh, it's a TCU article. So hold on, it's gonna take them a second to say who they're playing. North Carolina. TCU and North Carolina will play in the Aer Lingus College Football Classic in 2026 and Dublin, Ireland. So shout out to Ireland.
Yeah, I do think that specifically the Ireland thing too. I like that. It's just sort of like they just like pick games, right? Like, why is TCU playing North Carolina? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like Wisconsin, Pittsburgh. Like, it's not so much like
it's not as rigid.
Yeah, which is nice. Because obviously cute. In the sport there is a lot of things that do become rigid. So, but to move on to what we're really here to...
I did lie. That's the first NFL game in Berlin. It is not the first NFL game in Germany.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyways, go ahead.
That makes sense. So yeah, we're here. As you already know, football season is around the corner. As you already
Four
know,
Saturdays.
crazy. As you
Four
already know,
Saturdays.
that means that we are in preview season. Last week we did our Big 12 previews. If you didn't listen, you should listen.
It was a good time.
And we surprisingly agreed, and we do agree on this one as well, which is not good. So hopefully moving forward we don't continue to agree on who we think is going to win the conference.
We don't agree on who's going to win the conference.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't. You just
Did you
wrote it and I
change
haven't wrote anything else. But we don't agree on who's going to win the conference. If you look at the other thing, I put somebody else to win. So we will get there when we get there.
Hold on.
Okay, he now has to look for proof, but we are tracking
No.
Yes.
That, hold on. That is not what you said. Hold on.
Yes. Literally yes.
Oh, okay.
If you look at it, I was like, I
Okay.
didn't pick the same winner. I picked the same we didn't even pick the same matchup. So we will be disagreeing at some point in this show.
Well, good, because last week we picked the same winner, and that's not always the best.
We picked the
thing.
same winner, but we did not pick the same opponents.
Well,
did
yeah,
not do
but that doesn't matter. That
I'm just
doesn't matter.
saying we came to a mutual conclusion that I still think is delusional, but it'll be fun to figure out.
Yeah. But I mean, to the point of last week, we picked a surprise winner for the Big
We did.
12. So
We did.
We're gonna be on a limb, right? So you should check it out. But today, we're not talking about the Big 12. No more Big 12. Get them out of there. Today we're talking about the ACC, which is unfortunately not nearly as fun of a league to talk about as the Big 12.
Not
but
as much parody.
we
Yeah.
are still going to talk about the ACC, of course. We are doing the Power 4 previews. Included in this is slightly Notre Dame, although they're not in the ACC technically.
Any conference. Yeah.
But, you know,
We'll talk Notre Dame.
it's still important to sort of talk about them, and they are most recognizable, I guess that's the wrong word, but most recognizable with the
Notorious.
ACC because they play X number of games each
Oh,
year
they're
with the
more
ACC.
synonymous.
Thank
Yes.
you. Synonymous, yes. Even though they're not in a conference, I understand they're not in a conference. They're never going to be in a conference. But
Yeah. TV deals.
boo,
Yeah.
blah, blah,
Money.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah. We don't
All
give a
right.
crap. We
Yes.
don't care.
So, emerging storylines, as for those of you, because every episode could be someone's first episode, the way we do these previews, we ask a series of questions. We give emerging storylines. We look at the top transfers because transfer portals everywhere. We look at contenders. We give our dark horse contenders. We look at a couple critical matchups. And then, because playoff is king, unfortunately, we do look at and try to guess the number of playoff participants. This is all going to culminate in our show that happens right before the season starts, which is our playoff preview show, because I believe in podcasting that if you're going to put it on tape, you have to stick to it. I'm not hating on anyone who doesn't, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts where they say things and then it's time to make their picks and they change. And sure, today is July. In August, my opinion could change, but I already put it on tape, so I got to stick to it. So whoever we pick in this, whoever we say is going to make it, in our playoff show, we didn't put that all together because consistency is king. And that is one of the trademarks of our shows, at least, I like to say. So, emerging storylines for the ACC. The first, maybe not the biggest, but the first one that we want to talk about is simply Florida State. If you all remember, if you all remember, 2 years ago, Florida State was 12-0, had all of these transfers, had all of this good stuff going on, great wide receivers. They were the talk of the town. And then their quarterback gets injured, and they lose their quarterback gets injured, and we're still in a 14 playoff, of course, and they do not get picked as an undefeated team. They do not get picked. They do not make the 14 playoff. They then go to a bowl game and get destroyed because half their team quits. And then the very next year, which would have been last year, they were 13-0, and they won the conference championship, by the way. That is important to say. They were 13-0, ACC champion, did not get into the 14 playoff. And then last year happens and they only win 2 games. So the question, and this happens for multiple reasons, right? Some of it, like they even say this a little bit. Some of it is like the carryover of not making the playoff, just like that emotional sort of kind of thing. But then the other part, as we talked about last week with the Big 12, is that sometimes you can live and die by the transfer portal, and it doesn't always work. 2023 FSU, the transfer portal was great for them. 2024 FSU, they tried to do the same thing, and it did not work, including the fact that they got DJ Uiagalelei from the transfer portal to play quarterback, and he was booty cheeks. And so a mix of not hitting in the transfer portal, the emotional sort of withdrawals or whatever of not making the playoffs, players leaving, going to the league, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They had one of the worst years ever. And they are the first team to have fallen from such high highs to those specific lows. Because as you know, with any stat, right, you can make anything.
Anything is a record these days.
Yes. But in 2023, they had 11 defenders that were transfers reach ACC recognition, and they sent 10 guys to the NFL. Last year, they had offensive line injuries. They had lack of leadership, which is something that I always talk about because this is still college. Yes. I do believe leadership matters no matter what, but also specifically, in my opinion, in college, right? Like, that's why I think you can't go too transfer heavy, because you do need someone to establish like culture and leadership and things like that. They were lacking leadership. There was just a lot going on. The school was suing an ACC, all this stuff,
Oh my
right?
gosh, this mess.
So, yeah, they win 2 games. And so with that, then going into this year, can they bounce back? They have a double coordinator switch, right? Who did they hire? Where is this at? They hired Gus Malzahn from UCF. They did the thing that Ohio State did with Chip Kelly. They hired a sitting head coach. So they hired him to run the offense. And then on defense, they hired Nebraska's Tony White, who is one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. Nebraska's had a really good defense. They didn't have a great offense, but they hired a really good defensive coordinator. And Gus Malzahn has always been sort of known for his offenses. And so new coordinators, they did go back to the transfer portal because they didn't have a choice, right? When you have one of the worst teams, you do need to find talent.
More people. Yes.
One of the places that they go in the transfer portal is they go to Boston College, and they take Thomas Castellano, quarterback from BC, to be their quarterback, who was supposedly an ideal fit for Gus Malzahn's system. And so, yeah, it's a storyline, right? You go from 13-0 to 2-10. Double coordinator switch. You go back to the transfer portal. You had this coach that everyone was like raving and saying, maybe is like people were saying should have got the Alabama job, and then you crash.
Ever.
Yes. So
like fiery flames. It was bad. I distinctly just remember like when we had our first preview. I think that was one of the first things I said was, I don't watch college football. I don't follow college football. But one thing I do remember is the anger that I felt when FSU did not make the playoffs. I thought that was such a miscarriage of the college football system. I could not believe it. I think I came into it like, justice for Florida State. This is crazy. I don't think any of us could have predicted such a fall from grace, but and I know obviously it sucks because you have this transfer portal heavy team. They have all the success, majority of them get drafted, then everything kind of goes left, obviously because of the whole not making the playoffs thing. There's all this drama, so then more people are transferring out because they don't want to be a part of this. So then that obviously causes a recruiting issue as well. So it's like you can't really recruit from the high school ranks, because if I'm a local high schooler in Florida and I know what's going on, girl, I ain't going to Florida State.
Listen,
I'm going somewhere else. I'm taking my chances in Miami. I'm taking my chances at UCF. I'm taking my chance. Like, if I wanted to stay in Florida as a local high school prospect, like, I'm not going to Florida State.
Yeah. And then with that, you also have to say Miami had one of their best seasons in a while.
Yes.
People think that Florida's going to come up. So
Yes,
this is
Florida Gators are doing better. Yeah, so it's like Florida State's just not the top choice if I'm a high school prospect either. So then you have to almost like add on to it by going back to the transfer portal and continuing to roll the dice. So yeah, and then of course, anytime a team, no matter how much production they bring back, anytime you have a double coordinator switch, that's always like, what's going to happen there? So the only direction to go is up, though.
Yeah,
that's the only direction they can go. I do think it's interesting, like in a lot of preseason rankings, that they're ranked higher than SMU as far as like potential success. I think that's odd, because like where are we getting that from? But
we can tell you, but the one thing too, are they back, that you should consider is their schedule isn't
we are screen sharing, people.
Easiest.
We're screen sharing. Do you understand?
Their
We are living in the
schedule.
future. This is real podcasting right now. We are living in the future. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Their schedule is not the easiest. First of all, they start off with Alabama, which
That
okay.
is cruel
That's a
and
game.
unusual punishment. That is what that is.
That's a game. And then they play Miami, who, listen, we're going to talk about Miami, but should still be better than them. And then they also have to play Clemson, who is better than them. And then they also have to play Florida. So, like, there are definitely games in between, right? So, like, they should have a good year. But when we talk about back, right, I don't see them winning more than 7 or 8 games.
It's got to be
just
7.
off of their schedule, especially because they then have to beat all the teams that are sort of equal to them, right? They have to beat Pitt, who I think is going to be a decent team.
Yeah.
They, maybe you say they do get it easy, right? Maybe you say they get it easy by having Virginia Tech, Virginia, and Wake Forest, who all are sort of going through some problems right now. But essentially, for them to sort of even hope to be in the playoff conversation, they have to beat one of Alabama, Miami,
or
Florida,
Clemson.
or Clemson.
Child
And really, they need to beat two of them. Because
No.
to get into the playoff conversation, you need to have 10 wins, right? Like, there were X number of 9-3 SEC teams who didn't get in. So at this exact point, 9-3 not getting you in. So they need to be 10-2, which means they need to beat 2 of Alabama, Miami, Clemson, and Florida, while also then beating everyone else.
Let me beat everybody else. So with that being said, Florida, have a good time. We're going to talk about y'all next year. We'll see y'all next year.
Yes. The question is, are they going to be better? If the question is, are they going to be better?
You have to be better than 2-10. You have to be.
But are they going to be back in the national title conversation?
No.
That answer is no. Definitely
Respectfully. If
Respectfully,
you're a Florida
no.
State fan, no. And that's okay.
Yes.
Like that is okay. There is something that happened that is historic. That's what we were saying all season last year. Like, what's going on with Florida State is historic. The 30 for 30 will feed families. Like, it really will. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's cool because you did see the short-term success of heavy transfer portal building, but then you also see the fallout. Now, I also think that the situation is a very specific to Florida State situation with the whole suing the ACC thing and all of that. Like, I think that compounded onto the situation. So there's a very specific things that are going on with Florida State that is also just a case study for Florida State. But yeah, the schedule is really not
ideal.
Any favors
Not ideal
at all. So that's kind of the part that sucks, because it's like it's hard to still say it like with confidence like where they're going to end up, because they come straight off of this 2-10 season and then they have to go into a season opener against Bama.
Yeah, but listen, after going 2-10, 8-4 would definitely show some progress.
8-4, no, yeah. Honestly, you win more than 5 games, I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
like you win more than 5 games.
I don't think they're going to be happy with more than 5.
Well,
on this podcast,
I'm not a Florida State fan,
5,
so
like, yeah.
Like, I'm saying, I'm proud of you from a strictly
me
sports.
personally, you gotta get 7.
Yes. Well, I'm saying I'm proud of you from the sense of like bouncing back.
Yeah, you got to get 7, and I really want to say 8 because you can't lose to both Miami and Florida. Like you can't lose to
But they probably will.
Right. But you can't.
You can't, but they will. No shade, but and that's okay.
You know?
Again, to the original point, like it is okay. You went 2-10 the season before, so realistically, when you win more than 2 games, you are already in a better position. Now, granted, college football is dramatic, and so it's like all or nothing.
So it's not even so much. It's not even so much that it's dramatic as much as it's just like they're not going to base it off of last year because they view last year as something that should have never happened.
It was an outlier.
So immediately, the goal isn't necessarily 13-0, but it needs to be close to that.
Yeah.
So like. A normal team, if you go from 2 to 6, you're happy. But for them, they're not going to be happy because they're still going to see it as we went from 13-0 to 6-6. And so then it's 2 years of them being bad. And then you start to have other conversations.
But everybody will be fine. Take a deep breath. Everybody will be fine.
Yes. Our next emerging storyline.
Oh, God. I hate this story so much.
Yeah.
I hate this story so much. And I was like, when we were preparing for the episode, I'm like, I know we're going to have to talk about this. And
we'll be quick.
Still am not as, I'm just off it. Like, I'm just off the situation. But what we're talking about is obviously Bill Belichick down at University of North Carolina. No?
We're talking about the fact that they let pedophiles in college football.
That's why I'm off it.
He needs to get off her.
That's what, he needs to get off that lady. But, okay,
Girl. That girl.
Child. But then there's also all this other stuff about like how she's like in charge of all of his financial decisions and how she's the benefactor on all these things. And I'm like, is this a Black Widow? Like, what is going on?
Listen,
because if you play Sims, if you're a Simmer, you'll know that there's a such thing. Stay with me. You'll know that there is a such thing as a legacy style game play called the Black Widow, and basically you pick a female character. Usually a lot of people pick a character named Bella Goth because she's married to this really, really old man. It's Sims lore, but she's married to this really, really old man named Mortimer, and it's like known that she married him for money. And you take her or any other character and you just like go marry all the rich Sims and then kill them and take all their money. It is a very, very big gameplay style in the Sims. So I'm like, is she a Black Widow? Like, what's going on? Because that girl, she don't seem like she dumb. It's not giving like she's out here trying to be like a rich wag and wear her fur coats. Like, she's getting the paperwork on this nigga. So that's what's throwing me.
She's definitely not dumb because they share too much of her life already, and they're already talking about how like she's been using his money to like buy real estate property.
Yes,
and
in
like,
her
do
name
her, like,
and
business proposal and stuff like that.
I can't.
So like she's not even like it's hard to even say like she's a Black Widow because she could break up with him tomorrow and be rich for the rest of her life. And be rich because she used him to get her own money, and not just kind of sort of living off of his money. And the thing is, we just spent 2 or 3 minutes talking about that when we should be talking about football. But how can you talk about football when one of the greatest coaches of all time is dating a child?
I can't do this. That's why I was like, bro, I don't know if I'm going to be able to just talk about football.
For his son.
She's too young for everybody on the field.
Well, she's not.
She's a little bit older. She's a little bit older, but that's what I'm saying.
She's the same age.
That's what I'm saying. Like, she should be dating in that pool, not the man who's the head coach of the team. And I'm still stuck on when they did that interview and they asked them how they met, and they were like, "No, cut the cameras. We don't want to talk about how we met." It's giving grooming. It's giving that you've been around this entire time, and now y'all are allowed to be together. Like, that's what it's giving. But anyways, child, again, this is why I didn't want to talk about the storyline, because I knew we were going to go somewhere else with this. Talking strictly football.
Well, hold on. I do just have one last thing to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Steven Belichick, who is the defensive coordinator, so we're weaving it in.
Nepotism is,
Who is the defensive coordinator, is 38 years old.
He is.
She's too young for him.
Correct.
Because she's like 22, 23.
Correct.
So they're too young for the son, who's not his oldest kid, by the way. He's one of his youngest kids.
Bill Belichick is 80 million years old. Actually, how old is that man? 70? I don't know. Let's find out. How old is Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick is 73 years old, which is crazy. He's past retirement age. 73 years old. That lady is, like we said, 50 years his junior. And everybody, it's just so interesting, the thought processes about this particular relationship, because it's one of the first times that I've seen, in my opinion, that there actually be a split opinion on who's the victim. because there's half of the population believes that Bill Belichick is the victim with the way that she's managing their money and their businesses and all of that. And then the other half of the population thinks that she's the victim because obviously she's so much younger than him. So it's odd. And honestly, I hate that for UNC. I hate that for UNC because
I don't. This was going on when
what I'm saying is I hate it for UNC just simply because that's the PR of this is always going to overshadow anything that y'all have that happens. That PR, which you knew that was happening when you signed that 3-year deal and made him one of the highest paid college football coaches. You knew that was coming with it, but I'm just saying it sucks for like those who just really want UNC to succeed because all of this PR is always going to overshadow that. That's all I'm saying.
And
but they knew that because they signed him for a 3-year deal. 3-year, I don't know how many millions of dollars, 50 million, something like that. Him and Dion, they right there with being the highest paid coaches in college.
Close. Ah, boy.
What?
He just does this.
What?
He just does it.
Oh, well, yeah.
He just does it.
Obviously, this doesn't give. This is the first time he's done this.
No. Because, I don't know when they met, but his first wife was 25 years younger than him.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I knew that. That's what I'm like.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know she was 25, but I knew she was younger.
It just came up on his little thing because it had his birthday and it had his thing. And I was like, wow, his first wife died when this girl was only 5 years old. And then I saw her birthday, and then I saw his birthday, and I said, there's a gap there.
Yes.
He was 25 years. Okay.
This is
football.
I'm sorry. Men who do this for real, like Leonardo DiCaprio. Anytime his girlfriend turns 26, he is out of there. Like, there are men who just do this, okay? And I think there's something right now going viral with Drea, the girl who's with, I think it's Eamon Thompson.
Oh, God.
Who he is the same age. No, not Eamon. Who is it?
I don't remember, but it's not Eamon. It's one of the Jalen's.
Jalen, it is a Jalen. It's
one of the Jalens.
Child, do you know how many Jalens are on the NBA?
A lot.
And all of them are half black?
That's why I said one of. I don't know which one.
Bro,
but
interracial couples love a Den, a Jaden, a Braden, a Jalen, a everything, a Caden.
Yep.
Bro.
Jalen,
half of the NBA is named Jalen.
Look, listen.
Half of the NBA is named Jalen. The other half is named Caden. And then the other half is named, I don't know. I like, it's just too much. Anyways, the point I'm getting at is
I think the Bradens play football and not basketball, but they're
right. You're right. The Bradens do play football.
The Bradens play football.
The Bradens do play football. Yeah.
But so the question,
whatever.
The question is, can Bill Belichick win at North Carolina?
No.
And the simple answer is no.
No.
I would just like to remind everyone, because we seem to forget this. He wasn't good his last couple years with the Patriots. Like, I understand that he's one of the best coaches of all time. I do get that. He is that, of course.
Sure.
But he's 73. So, like, it's just... Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time. He's in his 70s, and he was saying he was struggling with this new era and relating to the players, and he had one of his worst seasons, which was like winning 9 games, by the way.
Which was still,
that was bad
worse
for him.
Bama standards.
You know what I'm saying? And he was like, done, cut, I'm done, right? So
you think so much.
This person who has been in the NFL, which we always talk about the fact that NFL and college do not always translate.
Nope.
Who's been in the NFL his entire life, hasn't been in college.
Ever. Not as a head coach. Not as a head coach.
Well, yeah,
right?
not as a head coach.
Yeah.
Has been in college for a while, a very, 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 very long time. Has never been a head coach in college. Is 73, and then also wasn't great. Then on top, it's just like, it's just hard to believe that they're going to be good. And then on top of that, though, it's not just are they going to be good. You do have to sort of look at the fact, like, who's going to be on their team. Right, and they did get some transfers, and they did sort of do some things, but like North Carolina hasn't been good the last couple of years. They weren't good when they had a first round running back and a first round quarterback. Like, this team had Drake May and Omari and Hampton, who are going to be great in the league, and weren't good. They don't have that now, so it's just, I think it's
just mess. It's just mess. It feels like that's what I'm just like. I am not a fan, and I've never been a fan of legacy hiring, legacy paying, all of that. I've never been a fan of that. Like, okay, you were really good at some point, so therefore you need to be hailed forever and ever as like this great, amazing coach or player, because like even like with the LA Clippers, not to bring basketball into it, but just somebody go look up the LA Clippers roster. I'm pretty sure the average age is 35. I'm not even kidding, because they're signing guys who are just great in name alone, but if you're paying attention to how they've been playing for the last couple years, it's not giving that. James Harden, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, and damn CP3, respectfully, are they all even going to be healthy by the time the season starts?
No, they're never healthy.
Respectfully. But because of their names, because CP3, because Kawhi Leonard, because of the things that they have done in their careers, it warrants paying them this amount of money and having all this hype when it's like, bro, like, are we all watching the same thing? So that's how I feel about Bill Belichick. Like, those last couple of years in the NFL, when he no longer had one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever pick up a football anymore, to me was exposing kind of what was really potentially going on. Not to say that Bill Belichick wasn't a good coach, but to me, to go from the NFL, which I feel like is a tough environment to be in, to go down to college football in the era that we are in, where the players are going to be paid, there's less humility, there's less of all of that. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying? Especially UNC, that's a huge brand. Like, you could potentially be trading like one evil for another evil. And you 73, like, do you really want to deal with? I don't know. I just feel like it's already too much other stuff going on.
He has to keep making money for his child. I mean, his girlfriend. I mean, his
concubine, whatever she is to him. And honestly, like, no shade to, well, all shade to everybody involved. All shade to everybody involved. But like, I don't know that lady, so like, whatever. But
child.
He just said he said that this will be a professional program with training nutritionists and coaching techniques that will transfer to the NFL. No. And I just don't believe that.
Well, and the thing is, they all say that. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, even at Ohio State, Alabama, NFL
they pump out the most NFL.
And it's still not an NFL program.
Readiness program. Yeah, it's not. No, it's not. And just because you coached in the NFL for 472 dog years doesn't mean that you're going to all of a sudden come over here and
you can't be an NFL program when they got to go to class.
Go to class.
And you can't fine them when they do things wrong. Literally, talking about fines, the fining podcast, someone was talking about how, like, in the NFL, they fine you for farting.
Shut up, do they?
Yes. Well, not everyone. Like, the rules are set by your coach and things like that.
Oh, okay.
But, like, there are certain organizations that fine you for farting. Like, $50 if you fart during team meeting. Like, yeah, so, like,
that's so
you can't do
men
that.
Are so disgusting
you can't
that
do
we have
that.
to fine y'all to make y'all stop being flatulent. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think, and I do think also, too, just to analyze the situation a little bit more and away from Bill Belichick, I also do think just, like, the state that UNC is currently in. Like,
meaning they lost their seven best offensive players and 9 defensive starters. In
that's where I was going.
Wondering,
that's where I was going. So you don't even come into a team that's kind of at least already a little bit ready, and you're just making tweaks about it. You are coming into a rebuild. Get out of my face.
and the last thing on that, their projected starting quarterback broke his leg, and so they're not exactly sure when he'll be healthy.
So you don't got a quarterback. You don't have 16 of your best players. And you're 480 years old, so you also just have to, like, make it down to the field.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not taking this serious. I'm sorry to UNC. I'm not taking y'all serious at all. What's the schedule? Let me see.
Yeah, so the only thing is, and I wasn't going to pull the schedule up on this one, but since you mentioned it, we can. Because I wanted to move off of, pedophilia. But the only positive in this is that they do have an easy schedule. I still think they're going to be a bad team, so I don't think they're going to win all of these games. TCU is a loss, in my opinion, because we said we think TCU is going to be good. Clemson is a loss, again, in my opinion, because we said we think Clemson's going to be good.
Well, y'all think that.
Duke. No. Clemson is going to be good,
I know. I'm just saying.
I think, and I will say this because we're going to move on to this. Clemson is not a national title contender.
And we need to be serious about that.
But they are going to be a good team.
Yeah, that's
fine.
And
then Duke is good. So I think that's 3. In my opinion, I would give them 3 guaranteed losses there.
Yeah.
The rest of these games, they could technically win
Virginia,
all of them.
Stanford, like,
I don't
please.
think they do, but they could. Basically, and the preview that we sort of go over, the guy said they do get a favorable schedule draw with 7 of the ACC's bottom 10 teams and 4 of the bottom 5. They only play 8 games. and the ACC. So 7 of their 8 games is in the 10 worst teams.
You're playing around in the mud with the pigs.
Teams, so
like what?
They do get a little bit of a benefit there, but I don't see this being more than 8 wins, and everyone's gonna like praise him for it. But if he's still, hold on, I want to cheat. I just want to look at something.
Not I want to cheat.
I want to look
child.
at something.
Lord.
Yeah. They're probably gonna praise him a lot if they do that, and then next year they have a hard schedule and they're gonna go 5-7. So
they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, what happened?"
Don't. If they do go 8-4, don't praise them for that because they are soon going to be back down in the dredges. So, boom. Our last storyline, last emerging storyline.
Oh yes,
Clemson's return to dominance.
I am
Clemson
so tired
won
of this
the
conversation.
ACC last year,
barely.
But it was barely. They needed a lot of help. They needed
Miami to lose
hold on,
to even qualify.
Wait. Can we say it again? I would like to say it again as we near the season. Mario Cristobal's a loser.
Yes.
So they needed Now here's the thing: they needed Mario Cristobal to do what he does, which is lose, and he then therefore did that. But they only got into the ACC championship game because Miami lost 2 games in the last 3 weeks, and then
to randoms.
Unfortunately.
Oh my God.
Well, I called the Syracuse one 5 weeks in advance.
We did. We both were like, Syracuse is gonna be the one he loses.
Yeah, which was hilarious because they were up 21-0 and still lost that game. I loved it, every second of it.
Oh God, what a time. Okay, Georgia Tech was the surprise to me. I was like, y'all need to get y'all's lives together.
Yeah, but Georgia Tech has been on the ups.
They don't suck. They don't suck, but they're not a team that you're looking at and you're like, oh my God, be afraid. You know what I mean? Anyways, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
Clemson needed somebody to be a loser because they couldn't win their way into the championship, and now everybody all of a sudden is sipping on the Clemson juice. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't see how we go from you barely made it into the ACC championship, you barely won said ACC championship, and then you barely got your bid into the playoff, and somehow that turns into they're going to win it all next year. Like, what are we talking about?
I can tell you how it happened. I just disagree. The very simple answer is that, because everyone does this, and I think that this is mildly overrated, a lot of their players are coming back. So the argument that people are having is that they were a young team last year.
Yeah.
And then they get a lot of people back. And then for the first time ever, they basically hit the transfer portal, only for 1 or 2 players, but they're also sort of betting on that. So basically, the best, and I'm just going to read this word for word because I like the way that he put it, and there's no point in making up new things. The best part, almost everyone is back in 2025. They boast the #1 highest amount of returning production, upgraded at defensive coordinator, and Sweeney even embraced a transfer portal this time. So they're betting on Tom Allen, who is the upgrade at defensive coordinator. They're betting on Cade Klubnik, their quarterback, being a third-year starter. They're betting on... They do have some good players on defense, especially on their defensive line, which is what they've known for a while. And then they also are returning all 3 of their wide receivers, which is nice. So Antonio Williams had 75 catches, 900 yards, 904 yards, and 11 touchdowns. And then they had 2 freshmen who combined for 85 catches, 1,359 yards, and 10 scores. So essentially they're bringing back 2,300 yards, 160 catches, and 21 touchdowns, roughly. Quick math, may not be exact, you'll get over it. So that is part of it. They're bringing back their quarterback, they're bringing back their trio of wide receivers, and they're bringing back a lot of their defensive line. And they had 5 starters receive all ACC recognition, and they're bringing back 4 of them. So you look at that, you see good team. The problem that I have is I don't see, like, I think this easily makes them the best team in the ACC. What I don't see is how this team then contends with Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame. That's where, like, I get the hype, but I still think that they're under that. And I think we saw that by the fact that, no shade to SMU, but SMU wasn't supposed to be there. And if SMU wasn't like starstruck in the first half, they would have beat Clemson.
We would have won the game.
This same team goes to play Texas and gets smacked up. Whooped, spanked, mollywopped, dog,
belt
dragged. So
Belt
it's just like, I do understand some of the second year jump. I do get that. That is important for players, of course. So I think they're going to be the best team in the ACC. But I personally don't see them as a legitimate national title contender, even with this, personally.
I don't care. No, not that I don't care. I care. Like, I have enough wherewithal to understand facts and how all those things, like, can come together into this wonderful marriage of, like, oh my gosh, this is Clemson's year again. Like, I get it, I see it, I understand it. At the end of the day, you almost lost to a first-time ACC team, so I don't know. But, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you don't ever count Clemson out. So I'm not sitting here saying, like, oh my gosh, they're going to suck. Like, no, you don't ever count Clemson out. It's Clemson. It is Dabo Swinney. Like, duh, that'd be crazy. Yeah. I just feel like, given what happened last year, like, I am not getting on the train with you people. I'm not doing it. And it is because I am a homer when it comes to SMU. Like, I'm always rooting for SMU. Now, if you watched us last year, you know that I was very, very careful about where I thought SMU really was, because even I was surprised with how successful we turned out to be last season. Because if you would have asked me at the beginning of last season how we were going to do, I'm telling you 6-6. I'm saying 6-6. That's the hopefully maybe 5-7. Like, I would have never been able to tell you that we was going to make it to the playoffs, let alone make it to the ACC championship game and damn near win the thing. Like, I would not have been able to predict that. So with that being said, though, Clemson being the blue blood program that it is, being that close to losing, just makes me not want to drink the Kool-Aid. Like, I'm sorry. Like, okay.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And to your point, like, yeah, probably they will be one of the better teams, if not the best team in the ACC. But the moment that you step outside the ACC, I don't see them really actually giving Texas a run for their money. I don't see them even giving LSU a run for their money. Even like, I don't see it happening.
We're gonna see that week 1. So that is the one thing with them, right? Is that they do also have a hard schedule. So I guess I would say if they get out of this schedule, sure, maybe. Like, they have a chance to convince me because of their schedule. They have a chance to change my mind. I don't think they get out of this schedule anything less than 10-2.
Yeah.
So if you believe the national pundits, and the preseason rankings, LSU is supposed to be a national title contender.
Oh, well.
South Carolina is supposed to be a playoff team. Let's say that. I don't think people are calling them really a national title contender. So that's 2 of their out-of-conference games, because South Carolina is a rivalry that they play every year.
Correct.
They then play 4 of the top 6 teams in the ACC, being Georgia Tech, Florida State. I don't have them there, but in the preview, that's sort of where they're at. Yeah. Florida State, Louisville, and Duke. They then play, who is not in this, again, where we sort of start some of our previews, but there are various opinions on this team. They then also play SMU, who is going to want revenge, and depending on where you sit, may or may not be good. We'll touch on SMU briefly. SMU is in a tough spot where they're losing so much, but they also are returning their very good quarterback, and so
much to gain.
We'll see. We'll sort of see with that. But ultimately, they have a tough schedule, and so this could be one of those things where like they are a good team and they just can't survive their schedule, which does happen, right?
Yeah.
There's another team that we're going to talk about as a contender that has maybe like the easiest schedule I've seen in a while. This is a legitimately tough schedule, and then because of that, they also have the out of conference games where like they could win 7 games, right? Let's just call it 7 games in the ACC and still be 9-3.
Yeah.
Because they lose to LSU and South Carolina, right? So I just don't see national title contender. Well, that wouldn't.
I know.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
playing. Keep
well,
going,
no, that would be the 3. That would be the third one because I didn't say who they lost to in the ACC. So, but because of that, they could also very well be 8-4. So I don't see national title contender. But I am still predicting that they'll be the best team because ultimately they could go undefeated in the ACC. They could only lose 1 game in the ACC, still get there, but again be 9-3, 8-4 because of who they play in the non-con. So those things matter. But that is a storyline. Everyone's just sort of expecting them to return to dominance. Everyone's saying that they have a Heisman caliber quarterback and all of these things. And Dabo hit the transfer portal and blase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll sort of see with that.
I'll see y'all October 18th. Anyway, moving on.
Listen. Top transfers. Quick list. One of these is on here, but I entirely disagree, but I wanted to use it as... I'm disagreeing with the premise, even though I put them on here, but I wanted to use this as a way to sort of talk about certain players, certain teams. So Miller Moss, quarterback, Louisville. Miller Moss was at USC, was not amazing, but also wasn't as bad as you think when you consider the fact that he got benched. He was a first-year starter, and in his first 9 games, he threw for 2,555 yards, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a 64% completion percentage. That's solid for a first-year starter.
That I was like,
through 9 games.
Through 9 games, that's not.
So they bench him.
Yeah.
You could argue that they played better without him, whatever. He transfers. But he's going to Jeff Brom, who is one of the best quarterback developers in the country. I know we like to talk about Lincoln Riley. I know we like to talk about Ryan Day. I think Ryan Day's is earned. I think Lincoln Riley is middle of the pack. We also, but like, I know you
hate
can't.
Lincoln Riley.
And it's like, and everyone's going to listen to this and be like, but he has all the Heismans and he has all the number 1 picks. But most of them are transfers. He got them when they were already good.
Else. He doesn't know how to develop talent. He knows how to work with what already exists, which is very different.
To that point, did Caleb Williams get better in college? Yes or no? The answer is no. The answer is no.
It was like, don't.
Caleb
it's okay. Don't think about it. The answer is no.
Freshman, he was good as a sophomore. He was good as a junior, but he wasn't that much better as a junior than he was as a freshman because he didn't get developed. He was just a good player.
Yeah.
Which is then why he went to the league and struggled, as expected. Is he going to get better in the league? Who knows?
Who knows? Because that's ghetto. The situation that he is in is so good.
Hey man, say man.
Because that's Chicago,
what
right?
Can I say? Yes. Hey man, say man. I don't know what to tell you.
That's some ghetto mess going up there in the Windy City. That's not Chicago.
I guess it is the Windy City.
Oh, okay.
But Jeff Brom is a good quarterback developer. Just underrated because he coached at Purdue and he's now coached at Louisville. No one thinks about it. So he could have a very good year. I mean, he got Tyler Shuck drafted, and there's a good chance that Tyler Shuck is going to be the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints as a rookie.
Because who else do they have? Exactly. They have Jameis Winston, don't they?
No.
Jameis Winston. Is that how you say his name? Jameis?
It's Jameis.
They don't have Jameis?
So. I don't pay attention to the Saints.
Well,
we're not doing this for little.
This is not an NFL podcast. I'm so sorry, everybody. This is not an NFL podcast.
and definitely not the Saints, dog. What are we talking?
Oh my god, I don't have a problem with the Saints. I'm sorry, I don't have a problem with the Saints.
I don't think they have Jameis.
Oh no, he's in New York. Sorry.
Yeah, I thought so. I
swear I saw something about him being in New Orleans. It doesn't matter. Okay, Drew Brees is gone. That's what matters.
So Louisville is going to be one of those teams that could shock and meet Clemson or even beat Clemson and be one of the teams that Clemson is not there. And it's going to be on the back of if Jeff Brom can do it again with Miller Moss, especially because they have a running back they have two good running backs who are both freshmen. One of them rushed for 1,100 yards, and the other one rushed for 600 yards at 8.9 yards per carry. So, like, they have talent. They're a pretty solid team if they can do it again with Miller Moss. So he's one of the big transfers. Carson Beck is the other one. This is the one that I disagree with. I think he's ass.
Okay, but here's the thing. It is a huge deal, though.
Yes.
To go from
which is why it's
Georgia
on the list.
to Miami. That's
right.
That's a huge deal, regardless of how you feel about Carson Beck, because I agree. I am not high on him. I am not like, oh my God, Carson Beck. Like, I don't care, actually.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because realistically, the idea of putting Carson Beck and Mario Cristobal together, that's actually going to be fun to watch. Sorry. That's going to be fun to watch because Carson Beck is so good at fucking shit up.
You heard it here first. 8-4 or 7-5.
Like,
because think about how many games they would have lost if it wasn't
for the heroics of Cam Ward.
And to be fair, Cam put them in some of them situations.
It was his fault that they got there, but he got them out of it.
Carson is also going to put them in them situations. Put them there. And just leave.
And then be like, are we done? Can I get a Gatorade?
He's going to put him there and put the car in park and be like, damn,
he's gonna
how did we get to the edge of the
cliff? We're down by 21? Whose fault is that? I mean, I know I threw 6 picks, but whose fault is that? Like...
Yeah, on top of the fact that he's coming off of an injury, so we don't even know how that's going to look.
We don't even know, like... Sorry. I know that this is not, like... To me, it's a big deal because it's going to be comical, and that's just my fucked up mind. Like, it's going to be comical to watch Carson Beck with Mario Cristobal's coaching. Like that, I'm sorry. I'm buying a front row seat to that every single day. I'm sorry. That's about to be something. I'm watching every Miami game just because of that.
Hey, listen.
It's going to be a good time because I
too will be watching a lot of
because I was never a fan of Georgia because of Carson. So yeah. I was happy to see Carson leave Georgia because I do want to see Georgia reestablish their identity outside of him just being so not bad, but like bad for Georgia.
He had a year back. He had a year left, and Georgia told him to get in that
Please,
car.
It's okay.
Son.
Miami is warmer. There's beaches.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Georgia was like, you don't have to stay here.
He went down there with his girlfriend. You know, whatever.
I don't know nothing about his personal life, but
his girlfriend's a basketball player.
Oh. Okay, good.
The 2 white twins. You do know them.
Oh yes.
Cavender.
Yes.
Them.
Yes.
He's dating one of them.
Oh, aren't they the ones that caused issues with boosters? And yes, they are the ones.
Yeah, something like that. I think
it was like before NIL though.
I don't know the names and whatever. I think he's dating the one that stayed in Miami because one of them left and then didn't think she had time left and then got like another year or something like that and then went back to Miami and they're going to play together for their final season.
Cute.
I think he's with the one who didn't leave Miami. What her name is, I don't know because I don't know either of their names. But he's dating one of the twins basketball players.
Okay, well, cute. Anyways, it's a big transfer just simply because I think it's going to be interesting to see how many it's just interesting to see a player transfer from one large brand to another, right? One quote-unquote championship contender to another.
Yeah.
So that's it's because usually you obviously see a lot more transfers of transferring up, right? So to go from Georgia to Miami, that's a choice. Like that truly is a choice. So it'll be interesting.
Yep. The next one, also Miami, Mohamed Toure. Had to put him on here.
Beautiful
There's probably always going to be a linebacker on this list because you're messing with me because
you're obsessed with linebackers. Yes,
I am. Truly.
I saw something about linebackers when you were talking about there's like the magazine or the person who like does all the breakdowns of like quarterback stuff.
Uh-huh.
I saw something similar to that on linebackers and I was like, I wonder if Jordan knows about this.
That's my dream that I'm never going to do.
I don't know if it's fully the same thing. I do have to go back and look and see what it is, but yeah.
In my head, I'm going to create one of those, but I do not have the time to do that.
You should. You honestly should.
The next one, Deuce Robinson, wide receiver / tight end. He is a 6'6" supposed phenom who also did not work at USC, but he is now going to be at Florida State. So if Florida State is going to bounce back, having a 6'6" player who's also really fast helps.
That could do some things for you.
So that one's interesting. And then the last one is Mekhi Gabor. Gabor. Is it Gabor?
I don't know. I'm not even going to sit here and play with that man's name.
Gabor. I've heard it. I can't remember. Mekhi G from Nebraska. He's a good like linebacker / pass rusher, and he's going to be on UNC. And they're going to need some defensive help. So
they need a lot of help over UNC. Truly, they need mental help as well. They're going to need to. Them players don't need to go to therapy behind. But anyways,
Contenders.
Yes, those are the top. Those are the top transfers. Contenders? Oh, let's talk about these contenders.
So 2.5 of them we've already talked about, so we won't spend time on them. The contenders, as sort of I see it, are Clemson, Miami, Louisville, and Georgia Tech. I can't put Florida State there. I don't believe that. I've also seen their quarterback play. So I just can't do it.
Based on what I've seen with mine own eyes.
I can't do it. We've talked about Clemson. We've sort of talked about Miami, but I guess we can give a little bit more into Miami, right? We can give a little something. Basically, Miami lost everyone. They lost their quarterback. He was the number 1 pick. They lost their running back. Yeah. They lost all 6 of their top pass catchers. Of course, as everyone, this is not breaking news. They brought in people in the transfer portal. They brought in Thomas Castellanos. They brought in wide receiver, one being from LSU. They have been doing well in high school recruiting. This is so essentially for Miami though, their thing is gonna be like development, which I'm sorry,
Mario Cristobal
doesn't do.
Developing people is
he just
crazy. That's a crazy sentence.
He doesn't. And you can be like, how do you know? Oregon. Mario Cristobal has always been a good recruiter. And then look at how good Oregon was the singular second he left. He left, and Oregon was a national title contender with his players. Those were his players.
He can spot talent.
Those weren't Dan Lanning's players. They're now Dan Lanning's players, but they weren't Dan Lanning's players. And they were instantly better because he doesn't develop.
Yeah.
So
it's like... He can spot talent.
Yeah,
he can spot talent.
I don't know what he's doing
in recruiting.
He is. He's like I have to give him that. I do have to give him that. He's great in recruiting.
He doesn't need to coach people.
He's been killing it. He was killing it at Oregon. He's been killing it at Miami. So for Miami to be good this year, essentially they have to rely on high school talent, which you should. This is a pro high school recruiting. This is a pro. These players are at the age that if he could develop them, they would be good. Second and third year wide receivers. You don't want to live and die in the transfer portal. I just don't know if they're going to be good because he hasn't developed anybody except offensive linemen, because he was a former offensive lineman.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Going to the offensive line, they are going to have a good offensive line. Last year, they were number 3 in O-line run push. They were number 33 in pass protection. And they're bringing back 4 of their starters, including Francis Mwaga, who is going to be probably a first-round pick or at least really high. And then they also brought in TCU starting center. So the offensive line is going to be good. That is a big plus. He always has a good offensive line. I will give him that. Outside of that, though, I don't know. On defense, they did get a new defensive coordinator because their defense was horrible. They hired Corey Heatherman from Minnesota. Hate that. Minnesota, which we'll talk about in the Big Ten, Minnesota has lost 3 defensive coordinators in back-to-back-to-back years because they always have a good defense, but they can't pay them to stay. That
sounds like a personal problem, child.
Little nugget for the Big Ten show.
Cut a check. Cut the checks.
Yes, their defense is bad, so they signed 5 transfers just in the defensive backs.
For the defense.
Just corners and safeties. They signed 5 of them. They return one of their better defensive ends, and then they got Muhammad Toure, who's a fucking stud. Like, straight up, straight down. He's 100. If he stays healthy, 100 tackles guaranteed. Just book it.
Yeah.
100 tackles. So their defense may be decent, but it's still the Carson Beck of it all, and the needing to develop running backs and wide receivers that's sort of tough for me. But I do think that with some of the returners, and you know, we don't know how the transfer portal thing works, especially in the secondary, but I do think that is a place where you can sort of do transfers a little bit easier than other places. You do need some continuity and some communication and things like that, but I don't think it's as tough as like offensive line and some other places. So
where it's they get better as they play together type of situation. We'll see. Miami is always a liability because of who their head coach is, and that's just kind of really the long and short of it. Like, they could have the best team in America, and they are still going to be it's still going to be contingent upon the fact that Mario Cristobal makes certain decisions that don't make sense.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see about Miami, but I'm not counting them out as far as, you know, we very well could be sitting here in 10, 11 weeks talking about Miami being headed to the ACC championship. So, to the other contender that we did not discuss as much.
Louisville, we mentioned them briefly, but I will say Louisville, we talked about Miller Moss, we talked about their running backs, which is huge for them. That is very important. That is going to matter. They lost one of their best wide receivers, but they're keeping one of them. So I think that they're going to be good on offense. The biggest question that Louisville is going to have is their offensive line. So they lost 3 starters, but they're bringing back 4 players who played 100+ snaps. So it's not an experience. Like they're bringing back some starters and some backups. Okay. So it's not like they are bringing players who were there last year in practice and know the whole thing, but they weren't all starters
a whole lot. Yeah.
Yes. But they did and the thing that's stopping me from actually picking them to win is going to be their defense. They've lost their entire secondary.
Oh, Jesus.
But they have all 3 of their linebackers, which does help. So I don't know what their defense is going to be truly. Their defense wasn't amazing last year. It was sort of middle of the pack. I think if it's middle of the pack again, which what they can do on offense, especially because they're going to be very, very good running and throwing the ball. I mean, Jeff Brom always has great offenses. So they're definitely a contender. They're just a hard one for me because it sort of depends on their defense, and they're losing a lot on defense. The last contender is Georgia Tech, and it is so interesting to have Georgia Tech be a contender
now, I know.
Because, like, they are legitimately, like, good now under their head coach.
Georgia Tech. Like,
they're getting better.
They've had quite a jump, yes.
Yeah, I do think that they're continue to get better. You can see that in their recruiting. But I think the most important thing for Georgia Tech is they're bringing back their starting quarterback. This starting quarterback, Haynes King, completed 73% of his passes, only threw 2 picks, and added 587 yards and 11 rushing scores. Until he got injured, and that is the one thing with him because he does run a lot, that you do need him to be healthy. Until he got injured, they were like on an upset bid of beating Georgia. They have a great running back who has rushed for and Jamal Haynes, who has rushed for 1,000 yards in back-to-back years, and as long as he stays healthy, is going to do that again. They brought in a productive transfer who had 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns, and then they get a tight end back last year. They get a tight end back who was good in 2023 and was injured last year, so their offense should be good. They are losing 3 offensive linemen, but this is another program where the head coach was an offensive lineman, and he always has a good offensive line, so I'm willing to just give him that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sort of willing to say, like, may not be the best in the conference, but I'm not going to give you a bad offensive line when you don't ever have a bad offensive line.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. On defense, they have a new defensive coordinator, Blake Gideon. Don't know anything about him. That is a little scary to have a sort of new and sort of unknown defensive coordinator.
Yes. It's but also like new could also be good. Like,
yes.
That could also be like he has nothing to live up to, so he can just kind of go out there and do the thing,
But the thing that I think makes this one of the better things is you could argue that they have the best quarterback running back duo, and Haynes King and Jamal Haynes. They love Haynes.
I was like,
this team should be sponsored by Haynes.
Haynes,
and it's spelled this.
Don't need to
it is
get
not
up in
spelled
there
the same way as Haynes the brand, but their names are spelled the same. Haynes. Haynes King and Jamal Haynes. Haynes and Haynes.
We had somebody get sponsored that way because of her name on the soccer team. What the heck? What brand was it that sponsored her because of her name? I can't remember, but she had the same name as like a store, basically. Anyways,
So they have arguably the best running back quarterback duo. They're number 2 in returning production. Their secondary is veteran. They did lose some people in the defensive and linebacker area, but they hit the portal with that. And I told you that we would get to this, and I am not a liar. I said that we are going to get to a team who is a contender opposite of Clemson, but has a very easy schedule. And
it's
that
giving
team is Georgia
Tech.
Their
honestly,
schedule,
they could sleep for the first 6 weeks and be good.
Well, I mean, they play Clemson.
Not the first 6, but you know what I'm saying.
5 of the 6 weeks, like
they could go to bed. They could just put the packets out there. No, I'm just kidding. Let me not disrespect Colorado like that.
They draw one of the top 6 teams in the ACC, that being Clemson, and that's week 3, which means they can bounce back from that. They get Colorado, which they should win. Gardner-Webb.
Now why should they win Colorado?
They're going to be Colorado. I'm sorry, they're going to be Colorado.
Wow, you are such a hater.
They are. They are. They're going to be Colorado. And I don't think it's going to necessarily be close. Gardner-Webb is a scrub.
I can't wait for that game.
Temple is a scrub. And then they get Virginia Tech bad. Duke is going to be pretty. Wake Forest bad.
It's going to be a fight. Yeah.
It's going to be a game, but they should be able to win that game. Syracuse is going to be bad. NC State's going to be bad. Boston College, I'm higher on than some, but they shouldn't lose that game. And then they should be able to beat Pitt. This team legitimately could
don't
be
play
10
nobody
and 2.
For real. It's Georgia.
They could lose to Clemson and Georgia, and be 10 and 2, and they would that would make them 7 and 8. 7 and 1, 7 out of 8, 7 and 1 in the ACC, and they'd be in the conference championship game. And if they're 10 and 2 in the conference championship game, even if they lose, I think they so this is the hard part, because I sneak peek, I have 2 teams getting in from the ACC. If they're 10 and 2 and they lose to Clemson in the ACC championship game and become 10 and 3, and they have 2 losses to Clemson, that's going to be a tough one.
I don't think they're going to make it in at that point.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Yeah. Like, you're going to hear a lot of SEC schedule things to put someone in over them, but there's still a chance that they get in or whatever. But, like, this team could easily be 10 and 2 and in the ACC championship game off this schedule alone. And this is not a team, in my opinion, that consistently beats itself just because of their style of play. So I do sort of expect them to sort of live up to it. If they had Clemson's schedule, I wouldn't be as high. But I do think they're going to be a good team, and they play essentially all scrubs.
Not all scrubs, child. I mean,
what can you say?
They took Georgia to how many overtimes last year?
A
6?
A lot.
I ain't mad at it.
Like, I'm not saying they can't beat Clemson. I'm just saying they could lose to Clemson and Georgia and be 10 and 2 because
that'll be their higher level competition.
Yeah. They probably, and we don't do a lot of betting. I don't like betting, but they realistically should be favored in all of their other games except those 2.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I
We'll
agree.
see.
Well, shout
Our
out to
pace
Georgia
on
Tech,
this.
because, child, they've come a long way. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Our pace
Georgia
on
Tech has
this.
come from a mighty long way, but we will see. On to our dark horse contenders, who we've discussed. Go ahead. Are you still with us? It doesn't feel like we're still with us. I can hear you moving around. Who's even playing today? Rachel Banham, Kia Nurse, Rebecca Allen, Elizabeth Williams, and Camila Cardoso. Have we ever started those 5 people together before? Sorry.
No.
The Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever are currently tipping off.
Okay.
And I will save my thoughts for my 2-minute report because I have thoughts.
Yeah.
But child, anyway, back to what we were saying. The dark horse contenders. Oh, you said something about our pace.
I was just saying our pace is super slow, so we got to speed it up. But dark horse contenders, SMU, Pittsburgh, Duke. Hopefully. I'm gonna shut up. SMU.
Don't leave me here all alone by myself. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's make this shit a little bit quicker. But our dark horse contenders, we talked about SMU already. Then we also have Pitt and Duke as dark horse contenders. Real quick rundown on those 2 teams, because realistically, I think Pitt is going to show itself as a contender fairly quickly, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like Pitt is going to be. It'll be quick if we see if they're part of the conversation or not, in my opinion. So
I have one quick thing to say on Pitt. As the leader of the Eli Holstein fan club, Pitt went 7-1 in games that Holstein started and finished. He was knocked out of 2, and he did not play in the other 3 because he got injured, and he was a young quarterback.
I lost you. Okay, so you are the president of the Eli Holstein fan club, and what happened with Pitt?
Yeah, I hope this is, Lord. We're gonna have to speed through this because I think my internet is starting to act weird.
Yeah.
They went 7-1 in games that he played and finished. He got knocked out of 2 and didn't play in 3 because of injuries. And he's a young quarterback. I think that he's very good. They are losing some people, but they're also bringing back their do-everything running back. And they have the best linebackers in the conference. Their schedule is not the best, but like they're bringing back linebacker Kyle Lewis. He had 15.5 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 4 interceptions, and 101 tackles. They're bringing back Rasheem Biles and Braylon Lovelace. Those 2 both had pick 6s when they beat Syracuse. And they also, but the problem with them is they have a tough schedule. So they play 4 of the best 5 teams in the ACC plus Notre Dame. So I think that they're going to be a team that is good, but it's just sort of, they're going to be like a very if they they're going to be a happy 8-4. Like if they get to 8-4, it's like good season. But I still think they're a dark horse because if they upset any of them, that's 9-3, 10 whatever. You know what I mean? And ultimately, like whether they're in the playoff or not, the only thing that matters is your ACC record on if they can be a dark horse contender for the ACC conference.
For it, yeah, exactly.
So,
great.
Duke. I think Duke is on this list for 2 reasons. One, they got Darian Mensah, who is a stud quarterback, and any team that gets a good quarterback should be in any sort of list.
Any conversation,
and then also,
What
I
is the
think
schedule?
their defensive line is their defense is gonna be really good. They bring back 3 defensive starters. Um, they bring back their first AP All American player and corner Chandler Rivers. They do lose linebackers, but ultimately, and then they also get a favorable schedule draw. So you add
Yeah.
in the fact that they're bringing back a lot of their good defensive players. They upgraded significantly at quarterback with Darian Mensah. They are going to have some worries that they need to sort of figure out on the offensive line. And this is one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if this always matters. They're bringing back 4 starters, but the offensive line was bad last year. So, like,
So
they
do
could
we
just be
care?
bad again. Like, I
Right.
think some people are
Right.
more optimistic than me, where they're like, they're going to get better. And maybe they do. But if they
Yeah.
don't, they're just bringing back a bad offensive
The
line.
same guys. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Because, like I said, I think that our contenders that we discussed are probably like truly like the main characters in this situation. But you always want to at least like acknowledge that there could be other
Yeah.
teams that'll come up through the ranks. But I personally think that like the Clemson, Miami, Louisville, Georgia Tech, like those are the ones that are really gonna get in there. I mean, SMU, I'm always gonna root for SMU, but like the circumstances is always it's a little concerning because like really one of the only things that we have going for us is that we have Kevin, and now Kevin will be able to start from the beginning of the season, which a lot of people don't realize he was not our main guy at first. And also we have why can't I think of his name? He's our RJ Maryland, our tight end, who is freaking insane. But we pretty much lost everybody else. So we're just going to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Critical matchups. So we have a few critical matchups. Obviously, Clemson and Georgia Tech for what we discussed already, with them both being both being ACC championship contenders. Kind of the same concept with Clemson versus SMU as well, with it being obviously the ACC championship rematch. Miami versus Louisville. I'm not entirely sure actually why this is a critical matchup. Am I stupid? Did I miss something? Oh, I guess it's because they're both contenders.
Yeah, because Miami is expected by a lot of people to be the number 2. Louisville should be a contender, and they're really going to test Miami's defense. And the ACC, last year, right, Miami didn't make it because they lost 2 critical games. This could be one of those games that if they lose it too early, it just knocks them out the race entirely.
Period. And then obviously we have Florida State and Miami, which my brain is shutting down. Louisville and SMU. Those are the critical matchups. I was like, my brain is like fully like, girl. Okay. Those are the critical matchups. We will discuss obviously as those come up, like, when we tell you what to set your screens to when we get further into the season. Number of playoff participants, something that we already kind of previewed. Both of us are of the belief, especially because of how last year went, that the ACC does have the potential to have 2 participants in the playoffs. But we disagree on who those participants are. So, for me, I personally, and I'm a homer, and I say this all the time, so I personally do believe that we are going to get a rematch of last year's ACC championship, and SMU is going to be so amazing, and Clemson is going to be so amazing that we got to do all this all over again. And then, no matter what, both of them are making it to the playoffs. Now, maybe that's just for my own personal brand and agenda, but yes. And the result would be different, like SMU would win.
So, I struggle with that one. I think SMU is going to be better than people think, but I do think that SMU's schedule is tough.
We are at a disadvantage schedule-wise.
And so, like, first of all, like, they play doing the whole Texas thing. They play both Baylor and TCU, and both of those teams are teams that are expected to be good this year. And then on top of that, they also play Clemson and Miami, and so it's like they just don't. There's not a lot of losses, and I think it could be a thing where, like, if they lose games out of conference but still do good in conference, it then puts the ACC sort of like we said with. I can't think of which team, maybe with Georgia Tech, where it's like if they lose these games, they could still get into the championship game. But then if they lose the championship game, now they have 3 losses. And it's like, do they get in there? And like I could see that sort of being a thing where even if they do good, they could lose. Like let's say they beat Miami, lose to Clemson, they only have one ACC loss. That gets them in there, but then they lose to
Clemson or Miami
Baylor
again.
or
Yeah.
TCU.
Oh.
That gives them 2 losses in the regular season, and then if they lose that game again, now they're 10-3. We just repeat the story of which we just said it.
It was Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Georgia Tech. Now they're 10-3, and who knows? So,
yeah.
but
we better not lose none of these out of conference games. I swear, if we lose to Missouri State, I'm never watching.
It would be Baylor or TCU, and like both of those teams are like. I think I picked TCU to get to the Big 12 championship game.
You did, yeah.
And they're at TCU, so like that's that could be a tough game.
We've won at TCU before. We ain't scared of y'all. You little horn frogs with your little blood squirting out the eyes, nonsense, whatever y'all got going on. We don't care.
Yeah.
We do not care.
So
we don't care. And we haven't played Baylor in a while, so that'll be interesting. I don't think we played Baylor since I was in undergrad, like my freshman year. So
yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Baylor should be good this year. So like you said, we agree on the number of playoff participants being 2. Mine is Clemson and Georgia Tech. I think Clemson and Georgia Tech play in the conference championship game. I unfortunately think that Clemson wins the conference championship game, but I do still think that Georgia Tech gets in the playoff, which is a massive, massive upgrade. I then also unfortunately feel like Georgia Tech gets blown the fuck out in the first round, depending on where they fall. Because I do think, like, just to be honest, we like to be honest on this show, I think that they get there because their schedule was easy.
It's cake,
and not that they're a bad team, but their schedule is pretty easy.
Yeah.
So, boom. I have Clemson.
Period.
You have SMU. We both have 2 playoff participants.
Good.
Any final thoughts on the ACC?
The ACC is a fun conference. That's all I can say. It's obviously not as mercurial as the Big 12, but it's going to be fun because we stand to get some good football out of a lot of these teams. Like, it's not going to be like weird dog fights where it's like both of y'all are ass, but somebody still has to win sort of situations. Like, we're actually going to get some good football.
We're going to get some of those.
We'll get some of those in all of the conferences, but I'm saying like it won't be like that like in mass. Yeah. So... Because you're going to get that even out of SEC and the Big Ten.
Absolutely.
They
don't like to admit that you get that in the SEC.
You do get that, though.
You are going to get
let's be for real. Those at the bottom of the SEC, like, please. Anyway, but what I'm saying is, like, I do genuinely feel like SMU Miami is going to be a good game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even Pitt versus Louisville, like, that's going to be a good game. I don't think they play each other, but you know what I'm saying? Like, those are going to be, like, actually good games. So.
Yeah. And, like, because this is a conference preview, we sort of, like, stayed on some things. But Pitt does play Louisville.
They do? Okay. I was like, let's make that.
There's also some, like, good out-of-conference games, right? Like, we get Pitt, West Virginia. We get Clemson, LSU.
That's going to be fun.
We have SMU versus Baylor and TCU.
That's going to be so much fun.
Where all 3 teams should be good. Yeah, like I do think that there's not only, of course, there's going to be Clemson, South Carolina. I think South Carolina beat Clemson last year, so they're going to be wanting some revenge.
Of course, the Georgia Tech rematch is always going to be fun. I hate that that's like the
last year. Yeah,
it's the last week this season, but I'm very excited about that. Like, so we have some good. I think the ACC is going to produce some of those like instant classic sort of vibes this year, so that's going to be exciting to watch. Whether SMU does well or not, like I'm genuinely like, okay, like it's feeling like there's a parity at the top. So
yeah. And that's the preview. As we end the show, as you already know, we end this show all the time with our last 2-minute report. This is our time where we get to talk about anything we want to. Sometimes it's sports related, sometimes it's not sports related. I'm gonna go first this time because yours is sports related.
Yes.
Mine is semi-sports related.
Mine might be more negative than yours, though. But I haven't seen what he said because I do not listen to that man speak.
You haven't seen what he said. I wasn't sure I was going to make this my 2-minute report, so I didn't. I just
never listen to anything he says.
Yeah.
Like, I will never know what he said unless someone said, oh, this man said this. Because anytime he opens his mouth, it is nonsense.
Yeah. So for those of you who prescribe, Megan Thee Stallion is dating Klay Thompson very openly. They both seem to be very happy.
Very cute.
Slim Thug who, if you don't know, because some of you may not know, is a
Legendary
45-year-old
Houston
rapper from Houston who could and who was arguably a legend and is slowly going to keep losing that status if he keeps opening his mouth.
Stop talking.
And supposedly, Slim Thug, by his own admission, tried to get with Megan Thee Stallion, who
because
is
Slim
15
Thug would
years
try
younger
to
than him.
get with a chicken sandwich.
And Megan Thee Stallion said no.
As
And so then Slim Thug goes on a rant in his car, and it was just such a stupid rant because he contradicted himself at the same time. It was very much like don't be mad when someone says no, even though I'm mad that she says no. Don't be mad. Just look at where that no gets them. You could have been fucking with a nigga that would have had you in and out of Rolls Royces, this, that, and the third. But then he says, I know what type of girl that I want, and I don't even want a girl like that, because I don't want a girl. What do you buy a woman who buys you a $300,000 watch? Which,
if you buy her a $300,000
watch. If you listen, this is him saying, I don't got the money to compete with that. I can get you a cute little Rolls Royce, but I can't come back from you buying me a $300,000 watch. So I need a girl who makes less money than me, because I can't come back from that. And basically, it was just him being bitter, talking about, look at where that gets you. In this case, it gets you Klay Thompson. And I just wanted to bring this up.
four-time NBA champion.
I just wanted to bring this up because I just have a question. Does Slim Thug think he has more money than Klay Thompson?
Well, here's the thing.
Like,
Slim Thug actually does have a lot of money. I will give him that.
But does he think he has more money than Klay Thompson?
All his music. Realistically, we would actually... I'm not even trying to be funny. That man, he owns all his music. He has a lot of real estate. He has... I don't know liquid-wise, but like worth-wise, he's got a lot of money. Slim Thug is worth a lot.
Okay, but do you know how much money Klay Thompson has made just
in his
NBA career?
I know. I'm just saying, like, Slim Thug also is a very, very rich man.
Cool. No. That's fine. I said, does he think he has more money than Klay Thompson?
I don't know.
Because I can tell you for an absolute fact, he does not. Klay Thompson
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I truly don't know.
I can tell you he doesn't. Klay Thompson has made $282 million so far in his career just playing basketball, none of his sponsorships. He's in the middle of a 3-year, $50 million contract. And then when that contract ends, he's only going to be 35, so he could sign another one. And again, that does not include Nike. That does not include the golfing stuff that he does.
Yes, the man is rich. They're both rich. They're both rich.
But they're not the same level of rich.
They're not. But also Megan is filthy rich as well. We're talking about all these people are rich.
I understand. I don't think you're listening to my point.
My
point is... and I think it helped because you didn't watch the video. He starts the video talking about, I could have had you in Rolls Royces. Like she was dating a man who can't just go buy her a Rolls Royce. Like she does not have the money to buy that man a $300,000 watch. So to do this thing like, oh, I'm a better choice because I got money when he does not have Klay Thompson money and Megan Thee Stallion has her own money is just a crazy choice. That's what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that Slim Thug is broke. I'm saying Slim Thug does not have $282 million plus.
Slim Thug takes it personally anytime a woman wants somebody other than him, which is why I do not listen to him speak, because he genuinely believes that he should have open access to any woman that he wants, and he has never been able to conceptualize that a woman could have the audacity to not want him back. He's been had this problem because he's spoken about other women and other dating situations. And then he even came on one of my favorite podcasts and had claimed that he was trying to date one of the women on the podcast and he was mad about her rejecting him. And so the whole show, he kept asking her, why wouldn't you date me? Why wouldn't you date me? Why don't you want to be with me? He's one of those men who is so takes it ridiculously personally when a woman doesn't want him. And then that's the first thing he wants to do is talk about his money. That's why I'm like, boy, bye. Like, Slim Thug is a career hater. He always has been. And I feel like now in his old age, he's mad because he feels like he should have already been settled by now, and he's not. And so he takes the opportunities to attack other people because he's upset with his own life. Like, I don't have time. No, probably he doesn't have as much money as Klay Thompson, but the man is rich too. So it's like, realistically, you can have any woman you want. You're just mad because you didn't get that one. Get over yourself.
And then you had the nerve to try to flex your money to a nigga that got more money than you.
to a nigga that's also rich. Like, what are we talking about? Like, and also, like, it's just kind of annoying because it's like, and regardless of how rich Clay is or how rich Slim is, Meg is also rich. So I'm just kind of like, it kind of doesn't even matter.
Yeah, and even Meg don't have Klay Thompson money.
Right, even Meg, not liquidly, but yeah, like that's what I'm just like, because I mean Meg has a lot of deals and things like that too. But like, yes, obviously Clay has been playing basketball for a very, very long time and has made a lot of money just off of that. Obviously, Megan is just kind of like, she's been rich only for the last like couple of years. Yeah. But the point I'm getting at is like, she's obviously dating this person also out of pure choice, not necessarily out of what types of funds that person could or could not provide, because she herself is rich. Money. It's to the point where she will buy the person who she's dating a $300,000 watch. So you over here talking about well, I could have had you in Rolls Royces. She's put herself in Rolls Royces. What are you talking about?
And that's what I thought was funny. And that's why I didn't even bring up Megan in this, because she doesn't need to be in this, because she's an adult, a grown-ass woman who made the choice that she wanted to, and she is happy and seems to be in love with that man.
Very happy,
But to sit in your car as a grown-ass man and try to play big bank, little bank with someone who, one, has more money than you, two, is age appropriate for that girl.
Also age appropriate.
And two, oh my gosh, ain't worried about you. And then to like try to make it seem like you aren't bitter, and to be like, he literally said, I don't even like people who buy me stuff. I like acts of service. And that's why I know you say he got money, and I do believe he got money, but he was giving real broke energy, because to look at that and be like, what do you buy a girl who buys you a $300,000 watch? Clay doesn't have to ask that question.
Well, the problem with Slim Thug also is that Slim Thug has a very like antiquated view on life. Like, he believes that women are property.
He wants
like,
that woman. He wants that girl in the kitchen.
Like,
and if you got money and can buy a watch, then you offended him.
He believes that women are property and purchasable assets. Yes. That is how he sees women. So it is hard for him to conceptualize what you would buy a woman who buys things like that, because he would never even want to be in the same room as a woman who has that much money, because he would call her masculine. He would call her dominant. He would do all of these other things. Texas men, they're so annoying. So that's the other problem with Slim Thug, is that Slim Thug, and also I don't believe that Slim Thug actually tried to date Meg Thee Stallion. I believe he slid in her DMs and she did not answer, and now he on the internet talking about something he tried to date her. So realistically, because I'm like, it never gave that Meg would try to. Now, mind you, we don't know these people. But I'm just saying, like...
But also, just stop telling on yourself. Stop
and
being
leave it alone.
Stop
but he's been doing that. Cause
listen, this is the last thing I want to say about this. This is to Thug, but this is to everybody. If you are thinking, let me go in my car and make a video, stop.
Please don't.
Because almost every single video that gets made in the car don't need to be made. If you are thinking, let me sit in my car and talk about this thing, just don't. Just don't. And leave that girl alone. Leave her man alone, and just be mad that you can't. She didn't buy you a $300,000 watch.
Because honestly, the amount of men in general who have had something to say about Klay Thompson and Meg Thee Stallion dating, like, did y'all think y'all had a chance? Because there's just no way. There's just no way. Like, when it first came out, everybody was like, it's not going to last.
The type of man,
the type of woman that Meg is.
If I met Megan Thee Stallion, I could pull her.
We don't know her. We don't know her. We don't know him. We do not know these people. We don't know how long they've been dating. We don't know how long they've been talking. We don't know what the things that have brought them together. We have no idea. All we see is what they share. So it's like, that's annoying too, of all these men almost like feeling personally attacked that Meg has said. But they've been doing that about a bunch of women. They've been doing it about Tiana Taylor, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion. A lot of women who are popped out recently.
Did you see the reaction when Taylor Rooks got married?
Bro! A lot of when super attractive women, when super attractive women are snatched up off the streets, and men react in a way as if they got snatched from them personally. Sir, you don't even make as much as her. Dogs, please.
Listen, and not only do they react personally as someone like they could get that person, they also react negatively because they hate to see dark-skinned women be loved.
Being loved. They hate to see black women be loved,
yes,
period.
But specifically
but especially
dark
women. Yeah, darker
Taylor,
women.
like Coco Jones, Megan Thee Stallion. You know what? And I love it for all of them. I
think love is beautiful. I don't understand how you could be a hater on somebody being in love. Like, and I'm not even trying to be all like, like, love and peace and harmony and things. But to me, it's so interesting just the things that people choose to hate on, because it's like there's so much worse things going on. You're taking time out of your day to say weird shit about somebody else's relationship. Like, these people are happy, they're in love, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Like, it costs $0. The problem is it costs $0 to be nice, but it also costs $0 to hate. And this is how we've gotten to the point that we've gotten to. Because if hating actually costs y'all something, we might get somewhere. Like, it's weird. The people are in love, they're happy, let them be in love and be happy. Like get off the internet and go find somebody.
Shut up.
Go find somebody to buy a Rolls Royce for.
I'm saying, dog. The last thing I gotta say about this.
This is your third last thing.
You keep saying things, which makes me want to say other things. This is my last thing.
Right.
One, you're 45. Put down the phone. And two, and I said this to my wife, and I want to be careful about how this is heard. It would have been crazy and inappropriate to do. But to do the I'm better than blank thing would have worked more when there were rumors that she was dating Tory Lanez. As Slim Thug, who has money and whatever, you could do that rant of I tried to get with Megan and she didn't want me, but look at what happened. Which is a crazy thing to do, because you should never do that.
That is also insane.
But to do that when she is dating someone who is rich, who is handsome, who is at the top of his sport, who is well known, like all of these good things, to then be like, I'm better than him.
Shut up. What are you talking about? Shut up. And you might be, but like, shut up anyways.
I doubt it.
Shut up.
I doubt it, because Klay Thompson not in his car making videos.
No, and that's the thing is, like, you have come on the internet and showed yourself to be a clown for free. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I didn't need to know that about you, Slim Thug.
I don't care. I don't care. She's not dating you now. You're single. Actually, from what I understand, what he said on the podcast, he's been dealing with the same woman for like 9 years. So you already have somebody. Why are you getting on the internet talking about? See, that's the thing. You're making yourself look weird, because you already spoke about this some months ago, that you have a person who you have been with for a while who is your person. Why are you talking about Megan Thee Stallion and why you couldn't get a child? Anyways, okay, we've been doing this for almost 2 hours. My only thought process, my only thing for the last 2-minute warning, my last 2-minute report is, I don't know if this is how their contracts are structured. I will look into this, because I am tired of Rebecca Lobo and Ryan Ruocco calling Indiana Fever and Chicago Sky games. I don't know if they did that on purpose to torture us all, because the games themselves are already torture, but to listen to Rebecca Lobo continuously lay down her credibility that she has had for all these years behind Caitlin Clark, it is truly hard to watch. And then Ryan allows the clownery, which is why I don't like them together. Because when Rebecca was doing a broadcast with another broadcaster whose name just escaped me, and she's talking about making America great, and the broadcaster literally responded in complete silence, because you need to recognize the stupid thing that you just said. Then we have people who are actually holding her accountable. Ryan don't hold Rebecca accountable for the dumb shit that she says. And I'm tired of them. I'm tired of the both of them. I don't know if it's just they have to do every ESPN primetime game and it doesn't matter. I don't know, because, of course, a lot of the ESPN primetime games are going to be games that feature Caitlin Clark, because the WNBA hates itself. But, like, I can't take it anymore. Because I know they're probably also going to do the playoffs and the finals. And I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. I cannot take Rebecca and Ryan anymore, because they also do college. So they do like the March Madness and stuff like that. They do the bigger game. I can't take it anymore. That's all.
Well, as always, thank you for listening. You can follow the show on YouTube at Get Defensive Sports Network, on Instagram at Get Defensive Sports Network, on Facebook, because I realized that we can't live stream on Facebook if you don't have 100 people following you.
Oh, okay.
Whatever. Get Defensive Sports Network, on TikTok at GD Sports Network. We're everywhere. Where you want to find your favorite podcast, we are there. Apple, Spotify. And as I will say once, and I will say again, football season is around the corner.
For Saturdays.
You have someone in your life who's addicted to football and also listens to podcasts. Share the podcast. Stop being selfish.
That's all.
Stop being selfish. Stop. That's it. That's all.
Fuck with the kids.
We shall see you next time.
Bye.